Welcome to the Green Room. I'm Jacob Yarrow, Executive Director of the Green Music Center, and I'm here in my office at the Green Music Center on the campus of Sonoma State University. We created the Green Room in 2020 to be our online series while the pandemic prevented in-person performances. And we are continuing it in 2021 to offer some insight into the work of artists who will be performing here in the coming months. In this episode, we'll be talking with guitarist Jiji, whose full name is Jeon Kim. Still in her 20s, I've known about Jiji for most of a decade, which is evidence of her being a guitar prodigy and virtuoso. She is an adventurous artist on both acoustic and electric guitar, playing an extensive range of music from traditional and contemporary classical to free improvisation. She is celebrated for her work with numerous emerging composers, as well as her own compositions, which are influenced by her regular activities as a DJ. A big thank you to Oliver's Market for sponsoring this Green Room program, as well as Jiji's performance in Schroeder Hall on Sunday, October 10th at 3 p.m. The following interview consists of excerpts from a longer program that we recorded last year. Thank you for joining us in the Green Room, and I look forward to seeing you at Jiji's concert on October 10th.
Well, I'd like to start a little bit with learning about your background. Like, how did you start playing guitar, and what was growing up like for you?
So, growing up, my parents had really great influence on me, and my dad used to buy me DVDs of Eric Clapton and Jimi Hendrix and Richie Blackmore from Deep Purple. So I grew up thinking that I was gonna be this electric guitarist, and I wanted to get the Fender electric guitar. That was my first thing that I wanted to get. And so my parents took me to a music shop, and I was like, they actually didn't have electric guitars. So then I sat down on the drum set. And I was like, I want a drum set. And my parents were like, no. But there's classical guitar on sale. Why don't we go over there and check it out? And I was like, okay. And my dad kind of made this deal with me. It's like, if you are really good at practicing and really good girl for a year, we'll buy an electric. So he tricked me, like parents always do that.
Mm-hmm. Oh, all the parents totally get this conversation. They're like, yeah, no drums. Oh, that's on sale. Let's go get it. Yeah. Maybe not, maybe a little longer than a year. Parents know what's up with that whole scheme.
Yeah, it's so funny. They never bought me that electric, and I bought mine a few years ago. And so I grew up just, thinking that I was always going to play in a band. But, I also became very, inspired by these classical guitarists. And one of my, influential guitarists growing up was this Japanese female guitarist, Kaori Muraji. I thought she was this like the goddess of classical guitar, and just watching her with DVDs was just like so inspirational. I was like, I want to be like her. She's so cool. And and then just like that, age, this was like when I was like 8. So getting out of like elementary school, I auditioned for an arts middle school. Then I did the whole very strict traditional kind of musical path, and just like my journey to coming to the United States was that I auditioned to this university when I was 14 in Korea, and I got accepted. I never went to high school, and then just there were some up and downs with life, and I ended up transferring to CIM, Cleveland Institute of Music, to study with Jason Vio. And Jason's
been right here on the stage as well. Great guitarist. Yep. Yeah. Great teacher as well.
Yeah, amazing teacher. So I can keep going, and you can stop me anytime. But it was just like I grew up thinking that I was just going to be this like, soloist, like, very traditional rep and playing with orchestras, and that's what I was being trained to. And everything kind of changed after I went to this amazing festival called Bang in a Can Summer Festival. So that really changed my life because I always grew up having this feeling of like yearning for pop music or band, playing in a band. I've always had this yearning, and going to that festival, everyone was doing it. Everyone was like waking up playing the most crazy experimental music. Then they were playing chamber music, and at night they were playing like bluegrass music. I was like, what?
You're allowed to do that?
I know. I thought I was like told not to be like that. And that kind of like shifted everything for me. So that's kind of like the becoming of where I am.
That's great, because you obviously were very successful coming up through sort of the conservatory system and the soloist. You know, you're doing that at a very young age, of a prodigy sort of situation, and then to continue with that, which you're absolutely doing, and add in a wide variety of like playing whatever music you want to play. I think that's really a great approach, and it's fascinating to learn more and more about the music that you make.
I've been waiting to make this announcement. So thank you, Green Music Center, for letting me announce this. So this is my big commissioning project, also album concept, and also like a recital program called Unbound. And it's to explore what guitar solo virtuosity looks like in 21st century music. So I've commissioned 8 composers. So today you will hear 4 composers from that group.
Tell us some more about Unbound. It sounds like a fascinating project.
Yeah. So it kind of all came to me because as a soloist, this word always followed me, a virtuoso. Oh, the virtuosity. Oh, you're playing so virtuosic. And, you know, I struggled with that concept for a very long time, and I didn't really know how to react to it. And I was, you know, playing all this music that was actually not original guitar music, like Asturias or Paganini's Caprice Number 24. And I wanted to kind of make a mark and just express, you know, and works by living composers, that 8 composers that I love were also my friends. And I wanted to, I told them, like, write me something challenging or whatever you think virtuosity means. It can mean it's like all the fast arpeggios, or it could be fast scales, or it could be singing, or it could be rhythmically challenging. So do something that would challenge me as a player. And we have this like very unique relationship between you and I. And so yeah, and I wanted to make a mark as like the 21st century guitar virtuoso, and it just came out to me. And yeah, I'm really excited because, you know, these are all my friends, and they're such amazing composers, and they're so different. They come all over the world, and I think that's something unique, like Latvia, Australia, Iceland, Brazil, and America. It's just like so different, and I'm very excited. I've gotten almost half of the music, and I'm waiting for the next half, and I'm just like, I have no idea what I'm gonna get.
I wondered, like, what happens when you get like a score to a new piece and you sit down to learn it. Like, what do you feel then? What's that experience like?
Well, you know, the first feeling is a little like fear. I'm not gonna lie.
Especially when you've said, like, basically make it really hard, right?
Yeah. I remember actually getting Joao's music and Chris's music and Guli's music too. I remember just going like, how am I gonna do this? But then, you know, it's just like that's the first thing that you do feel, and that fear goes away when you're just like, okay, let's start from 1, measure 1. Let's go with the metronome. Let's go bring out our pencil and put down the fingers, and just kind of that fear subsides. Absolutely.
Little by little, you figure out how to do it, I suppose. When do you expect to fully release the project? Is it a record? Is that what it ends up being, and also performances, or?
Yeah, so hopefully the album will come out in April 21. And yeah, no, it's really exciting. And yeah, we're just like, I'm just waiting for the compositions to be finished by November. And it's just going to be like full circle from the new season, the 21-22 season. So that's like what my goals are. Like I have the album and then I just like tour with it.
Great. Well, I guess we'll be lucky enough to hear some of it here in October 21. Jiji, we at the Green Music Center are like, one of our goals is to work towards cultural equity. And I noticed that Unbound, the project includes artists from multiple countries. I know you're working to expand the reality of who's included in classical music. The tradition is culturally specific and grows out of a European and largely white history. How do you think we can work to be more inclusive in this art form?
Yeah, I think we musicians, we like to just go to default when it comes to repertoire finding. We look at the great legends like Andrea Segovia and Julian Bream, which are my musical heroes too. But they also commissioned a lot of music and also within their kind of friend group or the people they know, right?
Right.
So yes, so and it's not by like a very evil choice that they did that. It's not nothing is like like wrong here, but I just think that we live in a world where there's so much amazing music and has been for the longest time. Internet makes it available for you to find different types of music that's not just Bach. Bach is great. I never said Bach is not great, right? But so is Franz Cassius, or like Aitua or Tanya Leon's music is also amazing. And I raised this question. I wrote this article, and my student has been working on just a graduation recital full of just dedicating to Black composers, and he came to a halt saying like, oh, I guess I can't go to any grad school. And that kind of like I was like, what do you mean? Right, like all grad school requires you to play Bach or Sohr and all this the great white European men's music. And why not? Why can't we have both? Why can't we have the works that he's working on, and at the same with the same requirements at a conservatory? Wouldn't that make it equal, right? If we are excluding other composers, we are not going to be able to go forward. And I've been hearing a lot of this kind of pushback, and I wonder what kind of makes them a little bit nervous or anxious about this change. I think this change is very needed. It's been, I don't know, I feel that it's been overdue for a very long time, and like we need to support like music that is not just one thing, right? And by doing that, you have to program music by a person of color or by female composers, and they are really great musicians too, and it's and I just don't know what to say. It kind of makes me kind of a little bit baffled when I hear these like pushbacks, and I'm just like, oh well, maybe you should listen to the other music. Everyone wants to be like the legend that this guitar master was, and that's the path that they want to take. But that person already did their thing. You have to carve out your own path. You can't, everyone else is taken, right? You got to be your own artist. So that's the question that I want to ask for younger musicians. They're trying to be more mindful about their programming and the music. There's so much more out there than you think. So that's why we educators have to be doing more and being better at teaching students to do more and to find research just outside of this box that we were given to.
Absolutely. No, I really appreciate your article, and I appreciate the efforts that you're making to be expansive in the sort of idea of what is music and what music is good for you to play, what is good music for everybody to play. I think we're experiencing a moment in history where young musicians are able to really learn, musical traditions from around the globe very like authentically, right? Because of the internet, because of the ways that you can really internalize things. And that is a great opportunity to expand our idea of what Western classical music is, for sure, and to not to at the sort of uninclusion, the disclusion of things we've loved for centuries, but for inclusion of new things, and to make that tradition feel of the world and not too specific. And I
Yeah.
appreciate your efforts along those lines.